Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty show. And tonight we are going live with our first annual Birdhouse Dynasty show best ball draft. And we are in the fifth round. We're at the very end of the fifth round. Just had a trade go on, and I want to get you right into it. I know that most of you are in some rookie drafts right now. Well, we started up a new best ball dynasty draft. So let's get right to it for you guys. All right. We're going to share the screen with this right here. And we're going to go into the draft room right now. Let's bring it up here. It should pop up shortly for you guys. Let's see it. All right, we're working on it here. There we go. All right, we're in the draft room right now. Let's bring this down for you. We'll slide this up here. Okay. Bring that up a little. There we go. All right, as you can see, we are at the end of the fourth round, and the Birdman is picking at pick number 11. We all got to choose our picks. I had the eighth selection, and I chose the 111. Charlie Parrish had the first pick, and he went with the 102. Landed Patrick Mahomes there. Second choice went to Mark and NLSK 22. He took the fourth pick, landed Jalen Hurts there. Third guy, Ryan I am Havde. He went with, let's see, he went with the first pick, so he got Josh Allen. And let me make sure. I'm just gonna throw it up here. I'm just gonna make sure everybody is in here that is in the draft room. Check in with Anthony. I know he wanted in on it. Right. Where is Anthony here? All right. We had Charlie Parrish stop in, and we just had a big trade go on. Let's go back and view that trade here. Can back up. Basically, Chris Cash Money, who is picking fifth overall, went ahead and traded for the pick that was on the clock, and that was the 412 with Scoopadopoulos. And let's see here if I can go back and show the trade that happened. Okay, we're gonna go down here and see if we can see that. Big and recent activity. There we go. All right. So this deal involved Chris Cash Money, who was picking out of the 105 spot, and Scoopadopoulos, who was picking at the 1-2 turn. And so Chris Cash Money's got his eye on someone. He wanted the pick on the clock, and he went ahead and acquired the 412 for the nine. What would be the 908? Yeah, the 908, and Chris Cash Money's first in 2025 and second rounder in 2026. A classic startup draft move here by Scoopadopoulos, dropping back 5 rounds, but acquiring a first and second in extra draft capital. So basically, Scoopadopoulos here is making a bet against Chris Cash Money, and whoever he selects here, he's hoping that whoever he gets in the 9th round can produce similar to equal value of this pick. And these are the types of trades I love doing, making bets against earlier round players. We'll see if it pays off for Scoopadopoulos in the upcoming years. Of course, Chris Cash Money is making this move to be stronger in the upcoming 2024 season. So let's get back to the draft board here, into the draft room for you guys viewing. It's just loading up right now. And let's see here. While it's loading up here, how are you guys all doing out there with your rookie drafts? Whew. I've been through about, I don't know, 10 of them so far. So I've had some excitement. Let's see what's going on with this. Let me click on the league again. We're going to stop sharing for a second here, bring myself back up, go into the draft room, bring it down. I'll get this set up to share again. All right, let's do this. There we go. Okay, hopefully that works, brings us back up in a second or two for you guys out there enjoying the view and this awesome startup draft that we've got going in the Birdhouse. I want to run through the first few rounds picks and see where some teams are headed with their foundational pieces here. Okay, screen is not up yet. There we go. Now we are back. Now we are back here. Okay, so let's go through it here. So start right up at the top. Ryan and I am Havdi. He started off the draft, of course, with Josh Allen. No surprise there. Could have gone Allen or Mahomes. Either one, I'm fine with. So he went Allen. Then Charlie Parrish had the second pick and took Patrick Mahomes. No surprise there either. Then we had Colin and S. Frosties swinging it out with CJ Stroud in the 3-hole. Not really surprised there either. And Mark with Jalen Hurts as the 4th pick. And we had our first non-quarterback go off the board. Now, of course, this is Dynasty Bestball, so wide receivers do carry a little more weight in best ball formats, and Chris Cash Money decided to go with the top receiver in CeeDee Lamb. Now, this is a little contrary to the higher courts of public opinion who have Justin Jefferson rated higher if you want to go by keep trade cut or whatever, but in underdog drafts and based off of last season, CeeDee Lamb was the top scorer, so no surprise for me to see CeeDee Lamb go first. as we get closer to the season, we may see CD go ahead of Jefferson quite often, in my opinion. And so move on to the sixth pick, and that is the tandem of Matt and the People's Champs. They're under Jam Hinkie, and they went with Lamar Jackson in the sixth hole. Next up was Fantasy Reaper. He went with Joe Burrow at the 107. And then Hergot coming in at the 108 with Anthony Richardson. Next up, we had Anthony and Break Yourself going with Jordan Love in the first round. First time I've seen Love go in the first round of a dynasty startup. Not shocking to me. Being in Packer land, I'm not surprised to see Jordan Love go at the 109. Jordan Love, of course, being this is a best ball draft, has plenty of options for Break Yourself to try and stack up later on in this draft. Lots of good receivers there for Love. Then Fantasy Godzilla sitting at the 110 found Justin Jefferson sitting there falling into his lap. So he scooped up Jefferson. And then yours truly at the 111. I had the choice of Chase or Harrison or to go quarterback. So kind of the reason behind going into the 11 hole was because I did want to have just one pick going after me, two picks going after me at the turn every time. And as the draft goes on, I can kind of maybe forecast what my competitor in Scupadopoulos was going to take position wise and maybe go first with a position that I wanted. And in my case, I love the prospects of Marvin Harrison, and I was kind of planning on maybe taking Kyler with my second pick. I figured Scupadopoulos would probably take Chase, but of course, as you can see there, he decided to double tap quarterback, and that's what he did. Now I see Harrison as an ascending star. He hasn't even played a game yet, but there's no blemishes on his profile. And I think with Kyler at the helm, he should do great. And at this time next year, my thought is at least that he'll be the wide receiver one in Dynasty, maybe battling CD out. But with Jefferson having a rookie quarterback, I could see his value fade a little. Chase, maybe he's able to bounce back and get up into the top spot. We'll see. I mean, with a healthy Joe Burrow all season long, who knows? That's quite possible as well. All right, let's get into the chat here. All right. So again, after Scupadopoulos double tap quarterback, he went with the rookie Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert. After that, yours truly again was on the clock, and I was staring at Jamar Chase, or I could go the stack route with Kyler. But I've done this before where I faded quarterback, and I had no fear in doing that, even though it's a 12-teamer. And I went ahead and took the value of Jamar Chase, stacking up my receiver room with Marvin Harrison and Jamar Chase. Love that. Can't go wrong starting it off with two top 5 wide receivers in Dynasty. Fantasy Godzilla followed suit and took the final of the top 5 wide receivers in Dynasty, taking the Sun God Amon-Ra at the 203. So he stacked up his receiver room as well with Jefferson and Amon-Ra. Then Break Yourself Followed it up with a third wide receiver in a row, Puka Nakua. He started off with Jordan Love and Nakua. Way to keep it diversified, giving himself nice versatility going forward to take any position in the following rounds. Hergot then was up and took Kyler, stacking up his quarterback room, being the second to have two quarterbacks. Next up, the Fantasy Reaper grabbed that final wide receiver, I'd say, of the top seven in A.J. Brown. And so he started off with a solid tandem of Joe Burrow and A.J. Brown. Then we had our first running back off the board at the 207 in Bijan Robinson, over to the Smash Brothers, taking Lamar and Bijan to start things off. Chris Cash Money then came up and went with wide receiver, going Garrett Wilson. So he started off with CD and Garrett Wilson, bypassing quarterback, but I don't mind it either. Again, this is best ball. So in that format, wide receivers do carry a little more weight. We are starting 12 each week. Of course, it's best ball, so your best scores will go into your lineup. But receivers are very important, of course. Next up, we had the second best rookie wide receiver of this draft in Malik Neighbors going to Mark. And after that, we had our second running back go in Jahmyr Gibbs. No surprise that he was the second running back, going over to Colin and S. Frosties. Next up, we had Charlie Parrish grabbing another quarterback, solidifying his duo now of Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. Lawrence faded a little bit. Last year's startups, he was going in the first round. We'll see if he bounces back this season and can reattain that first round status heading into the 2025 season. Definitely don't see it out of the realm of possibilities. We know that he did lose Calvin Ridley this offseason, but the Jaguars went ahead and scooped up Brian Thomas in the first round of the NFL draft. Great pick for Trevor Lawrence. We'll see if he benefits from it this season. Now, after that, we had Brock Purdy going and Brandon Ayuk. Ryan Havdi went ahead and took the stack there. Lovely stack. Can't go wrong taking Purdy. And so he has a double quarterback and a solid wide receiver in Ayuk. Now we'll see if Ayuk stays in San Francisco before the season starts. That is the question. But if he doesn't, Ayuk's still, I'm sure, going to be a great receiver wherever he does end up going. And then we had our third running back go. That would be JT going to Charlie Parrish, who decided to start double quarterback and running, get his hero running back. And after that, we had Jalen Waddle going to Colin. After that, another receiver and Drake London going to Mark. So Mark started off quarterback and two wide receivers. Then Chris Cash Money went ahead and grabbed his first quarterback in Tua. And then we had the very first tight end go off the board to the Smash Brothers. Of course, that was Sam Laporta, coming off the monster rookie season where he was tight end one in most formats, maybe battled Evan Ingram and some tight end premium escalated formats. But regardless, Laporta obviously had a rookie season. So the Smash Brothers decided to take a top end tight end as well to go along with a top end running back. So their franchise off. And then we had the Reaper coming back with Chris Olave to go two wide receivers along with Joe Burrow. Next up, Hergot grabbed the dynamic Tyreek Hill, the veteran who at least has 2 more years left, according to his, saying that he would only play 3 seasons going into last season. So we'll at least have 2 more years of Tyreek, but regardless, I can't see anything but top end production from Tyreek this upcoming season. And then after Tyreek went, Break Yourself decided to follow it up with another veteran stud in Christian McCaffrey. I mean, going CMC, you know you're going to get the points there. I don't know that they'll necessarily hold back on him at all. McCaffrey had a great first full season in San Francisco last year. We'll see if he follows it up with another one. Generally, taking CMC means you're going in his first year, but I mean, McCaffrey to me is a Hall of Fame talent. We'll see how long he lasts. I can see him going another 2, 3 years strong. We'll see. After that, Fantasy Godzilla decided to go quarterback finally, and he went with the rookie, Jaden Daniels. Let's see how that pays off for him. Daniels is quite the wild card of your rookie drafts out there, where he's going third or fourth generally, and he is going in the back end of the second to third rounds in most startups. So according to that, at least you could see it as a value. Uh, but regardless, it is quite the risk for Godzilla. I went ahead and took Dak Prescott, the much safer bet at quarterback. But, this time next year, Daniels could be a top 5 quarterback in Dynasty. So could very well pay off for him. So after that, Scoopodopoulos went Brees Hall. And so I'm my apologies. This was a third round reversal, so I'm going backwards in this third round. But so Brees Hall actually went after Brock Purdy, and you could take that all and reverse it. Jeez, I can't believe I did that. So anyway, it went Hall. I went Prescott. Godzilla went Daniels, then CMC, then Tyreek, Olave, Laporta, Tua, London, Waddle, JT, and you can see how the values could go either way in this third round. There's a lot of similar values in these players. So then after Ayuk, then he went Dalton Kincaid, double stacking his quarterbacks, each of them getting their top targets right now. After that, we had Michael Pittman go to Charlie Parrish, getting a nice solid first wide receiver. Frosty's then stacked up CJ Stroud with Nico Collins. Love the stack in the best ball format here. After that, Mark decided to go with his second quarterback and Jared Goff. Solid pick there. Then Chris Cash Money went with his third wide receiver in Roma Dunze, the rookie out of Washington who headed to Chicago to take his talents. And we'll see how he does with his career, and teaming up with Caleb Williams should be an exciting tandem there in Chicago. Can't blame Chris Cash Money for jumping on Rome there. Then we had another rookie in Drake May go to the Smash Brothers, giving them a second quarterback along with Lamar Jackson. Then the Reaper decided to go running back and getting his hero running back in Travis Etienne. Etienne had a phenomenal season last year down in Jacksonville. We'll see if he can follow it up again. Then we had JJ McCarthy going to Hergot. Decided to go with a third quarterback, grabbing the value of McCarthy. Can't blame him. Drake May and McCarthy are arguably the third rated quarterback of this class. Depending on who you talk to, one or the other is ahead of them. Next up, we have Break Yourself taking Xavier Worthy, the rookie with the Chiefs. And that's his second wide receiver. After that, Devontae Smith went to Godzilla, grabbing his third wideout. And then, of course, yours truly went with the one and only DK Metcalf. So I'm sitting on 3 wideouts and Dak Prescott right now. Just waiting on Chris Cash Money, who made the trade and apparently wasn't quite ready to draft. So I don't know if he isn't quite sure who he's picking or what his deal is over there. But we're all just waiting to see who he decides to take. Did say that he now Chris Cash Money lives in Vegas, and he said that his daughter had a soccer game. So I don't know if that's for real or not, or he just likes to make us wait. But regardless, that's where we're at in the fourth round of our first annual Birdhouse Bestball Dynasty Draft. We're having a lot of fun here. No timer on this one. We could make this win wait out till the Hall of Fame game for all I care. I just make it last all summer. We got plenty of time, 30 rounds here to do, but plenty of time before the actual NFL season kicks off. So we are not in any hurry whatsoever. We've given up all plenty of time to finagle trades. So far, there haven't been a whole lot. Did have a $1 fab trade between myself and Fantasy Godzilla as the first official trade, but then first actual trade was again between Scoopadopoulos and Chris Cash Money. Chris Cash Money giving up a future first and second to move up 5 rounds, probably what market price would be to do such a deal. And he's going ahead and pushing his chips in for the first season here right away in the startup. We'll see if it ends up paying off for him. We're all waiting anxiously to see who he grabs here at 412. Of course, there's one more pick then, and it'll be back to myself. I've got plenty of options up my sleeve, so we'll see what happens. But regardless, this has been a fun draft so far. I have had a couple other drafts finished up. See if we can go find those here for you in a second. Go over here. Let me go bring up one of my other leagues drafts and we can show you what happened there. We'll go first into my Mojo League, which did finish up today. Let's see if I can find the league draft. Okay, here we go. We have my Mojo League draft. And so this league I finished in 4th place in its first season last year. There were many trades in this draft, as you can see. Allen up top there, he went ahead and did the first year tank, acquiring tons of draft capital. He finagled his way all around the board here. He had, I believe it was 12 draft picks in total. It was four or five first rounders to start with. And so he was able to get Richard Brand to flip from the 101 to 102. So Richard Brand could scoop up Caleb Williams. It went Caleb, Marv, JJ McCarthy third to Richard Brand. He had traded away Josh Allen in a monster deal. And so he's going all in rookies restarting everything. He had a disaster of a franchise that he took over as an orphan. So he's rebuilding on the backs of Caleb Williams and JJ McCarthy for this 2024 season. Allen then went in the 4 hole with Malik Neighbors. After that, we had Jaden Daniels go in the 5 hole to 1/6. Ricky went ahead and grabbed the value there of Jaden Daniels. Roma Dunze went 106, then Drake May 107. So May definitely fell a little bit in some people's eyes. That was a steal there, I would say, for Allen at the 7th pick. Lad McConkey went 8th, and then Allen was able to grab Bowers at the 9th pick. Allen grabbed both of them. Actually, he had May, McConkey, and Bowers all go to him. Then Mojo was able to grab Bo Nix at the 10 spot. Xavier Worthy went to the Fantasy Reaper at 111, and Keon Coleman finished off the first round to Richard Brand. Now back to the top of the second round, we had Brian Thomas, Jonathan Brooks go, nothing out of the ordinary there. Then we had A.D. Mitchell go a little bit higher for some, but I know that Colin, knowing him personally, he was high on A.D. Mitchell. We'll see how that pays off for him going to Indianapolis. Richard Brand then was up. He went ahead and took Trey Benson. Xavier Legette, the first rounder in Carolina, went to the Fantasy Reaper. Then I had my first pick, and I went ahead and grabbed Michael Penix, who fell all the way to the 206. Now, I loved that opportunity. I see Penix as a future star if he's still, just being realistic. There's a 2-year out for Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, so it could be 3 years before Penix starts. But I'm just telling you, the day that Penix gets announced to starter, he will automatically be worth a first round pick. So that's how I looked at it, using my 206 to gain a future first rounder, possibly. Maybe I'll just decide to keep him. We'll see. Don't have to worry about it. I can stash him on my taxi squad for now. After that, Allen went with another pick, took Ricky Pearsall. I had the following pick, took Blake Corum, who I love as a potential. Just, if Kyron Williams gets any kind of injury, Blake Corum will have the backfield to himself there in LA. Even then, meanwhile, I think Corum will see the touches. Kyron Williams is there. Obviously, Kyron took a big hit to his value with the drafting of Blake Corum. After that, Allen went again, first receiver the Patriots took in this draft. Troy Franklin then went to Mojo, and then a third wide receiver went in a row to Frosties. He grabbed Jermaine Burton of his favorite team, the Cincinnati Bengals. After that, Allen was up again, took Jalen Wright, and then we headed to the third round. Allen scooped up Marshawn Lloyd, so back-to-back running backs. Ben Sinnott then went to Steve, and the second tight end off the board after, of course, Brock Bowers, right around where he's been going in most drafts. Then we had Roman Wilson going to the Steelers. He was scooped up by Richard Brand. Javon Baker going at the 304 to Allen. So Allen got both New England wide receivers as well as Drake May. So he has the double stack with the Patriots. We'll see how that pays off for him. Next up, we had Foss Boss grabbing Malachi Corley, who went to the Jets. Bucky Irving then by Dominic Of course, probably the backup to Rashad White. Ray Davis then went to 1-6 cert. Braylon Allen to Wisconsin, and Kamani Vidal to Mojo. So we had 4 straight running backs there go in the middle of the third round. Pretty typical, I would say. Next up, Devontae Walker went to Mojo as well. He took his talents to Baltimore, team up with Lamar Jackson. Spencer Rattler then went to King Weezy. Love that pick there. Again, it's another potential spot for Rattler, depending on how well he picks up the New Orleans playbook. We could see him possibly starting for the Saints in the 2025 season. Who knows what his value could rise to? But it's a wild card. He could be worth nothing at this point next year, too. And finally, the last pick of the third round was JT Sanders going to Foscon. Starting up the fourth round, we had Eric All, tight end from Cincinnati, go to Richard Brand. Jalen McMillan, receiver from Tampa, going to Steve. Stover, the tight end for the Texans. Estime, Luke McCaffrey, Brendan Rice, Jordan Travis, Theo Johnson, Isaac Arendo, Tyrone Tracy from the Giants going to Steve, Jacob Cowing, and Will Shipley, Mr. Irrelevant, this draft going to Wisconsin. So that was our Mojo draft. Pretty typical. The only surprises I could talk about here would be, Allen had both picks here, so Bowers and McConkey you could flip around. Don't see that. Bowers typically goes ahead of McConkey, but he had both picks, so it really doesn't matter. Major thing here, I could say, is up top, JJ McCarthy going 103. That's the first draft of my rookie drafts where he went that high. Definitely a little bit of a risk there, but McCarthy obviously had the best landing spot, or I guess you could argue with Caleb Williams, but after Caleb Williams, definitely McCarthy has a golden opportunity with his landing spot in Minnesota. Great offensive system there. Top receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson's got Jordan Addison and then TJ Hawkinson when he's back from his injury. So plenty of weapons for JJ McCarthy to light up the scoreboard. Now, he did not do that exactly in Michigan, and that is the concern. But personally, I'm not that concerned about McCarthy. I would have him ever so slightly ahead of Drake May just because of the landing spot, but you could easily argue the other way. If you want to take Drake May over McCarthy, I am not going to fault you one bit for that. So that was our Mojo draft. Let me go ahead. Let me go and grab another one of our drafts here. Let's see what other league I had. And my Turtle League going on. Where is that draft? We are in the middle of that draft still. Where is it? There it is. Let me bring that draft board up. Okay. We are nearing the end of this draft. And so if we go through this one here, so This is my Turtle League. And in this league, Hergot had gone the tank route for year one and acquired a ton of draft capital. He started off the draft with Marvin Harrison. He already has a couple of good quarterbacks, which is an understatement because he's sitting on Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts. But he doesn't have any other talent, at least not before this draft. Now he went ahead and drafted stud in Marvin Harrison. The DeLorean flipped spots with Hergot so he could grab his hometown favorite, Caleb Williams, cheer on his hometown, new hometown face of the franchise. And can't blame him there. It was a little odd because I pretty well knew that Hergot was gonna have to take Neighbors, and he already had Mahomes and Hurts. I don't think he was gonna take Caleb. But anyway, Hergot had the third pick then and went ahead with Malik Neighbors. Mark had the fourth pick there, took Jaden Daniels. Fifth pick was Drake May, then sixth was McCarthy. So this first six picks, even the seventh, you could say, which was myself, I took Roma Dunze, and Bowers went at the eighth to Fossboss. So Fossboss grabbed JJ McCarthy and Brock Bowers in this one. So the top eight picks were pretty chalk in this league. Next up, we had Xavier Worthy going at 9 to Brady Flash. Brian Thomas at the 10 spot to Hergot. Bo Nix going at the 11 hole to Frosties. And Lad McConkey rounding off the first round to Hergot. He had the next pick and took Keon Coleman back to back with Lad and Keon. There's an argument there. You could throw him, those two, and Xavier Worthy and Brian Thomas, and argue any which way at this point. I don't know. I'd probably personally, I'd have Brian Thomas on top, then Worthy, then tough call between Ladd and Keon. I don't know. Then we had three running backs go in a row, which I can definitely fall suit with Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, and Blake Corum. I probably have Penix ahead of Jonathan Brooks just because of the pretty much guarantee that, again, as I mentioned earlier from the previous draft, once Michael Penix does get announced to be the starter in Atlanta, whenever that is, going into the 25 or 26, even 27 season, he will be worth a first round immediately. Jonathan Brooks has no guarantee of that, though he is the top running back in the draft. I guess I wouldn't mind taking Brooks ahead of Penix, but I would take Penix ahead of McConkey and Coleman, is what I'm getting at. Basically, once Penix gets drafted, I would draft Penix right after him. Next up, we had Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Legette, and Adonai Mitchell go. Pretty much chalk with those three. Then Jalen Wright, Troy Franklin, Malachi Corley, and Jalen Polk. So to start off the third round, Ben Sinnott, Roman Wilson, Luke McCaffrey all the way up in the third round this time. I don't mind that. I like Luke McCaffrey, of course, Christian's brother there. So good, solid bloodlines. Their dad was Ed McCaffrey, and I see a lot of similarities in Luke McCaffrey's game to Ed. Now, McCaffrey also has only played the receiver position for 2 seasons, so he's just coming into his own there. We'll see what he develops into in Washington. Following that, we had Marshawn Lloyd to Hergot, Bucky Irving to MSB Joy, Jermaine Burton in the middle of the round here to Brady Flash, then Kamani Vidal, one of my personal favorites, Ray Davis, and Braylon Allen. All three of those guys sort of go grouped together usually in these drafts. Javon Baker falling into the lap of Hergot near the end of the third round at the 310, probably the latest I've seen him go. Then we had Spencer Rattler once again going at the 311, this time to Kyle, and then Tez Walker going to Baltimore. And beginning of the fourth round, we had Brendan Rice, Audric Estime, Jordan Travis, JT Sanders, Jalen McMillan, Will Shipley, Dylan Laub, Tyrone Tracy, and Rasheen Ali to Matt Warren. Love that pick. And so we're sitting on the clock. It's Colin is up. I don't know if he knows he's up or not, but I was just texting him, so I'm surprised he isn't letting him know. There we go. So anyway, that's where we're at in the Turtle League. Pretty much this one went more status quo. I would say the only argument I could make was maybe Penix going a little bit earlier. So MSB Joy got a nice pick there at the 205. Other than that, though, this draft board looks pretty status quo, like I said. Let's head back into the draft room of my Birdhouse Bestball in here. Let's get this back up. There we go. Bring it up here. All right. So we're still sitting on the 412. Oh, there Colin just went ahead and took Cade Stover, the tight end for the Texans, 410. So that the draft is nearing the end. But lots of excitement here. It's rookie season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What you wouldn't have done. I guess major thing for debate could be JJ McCarthy versus Drake May. So that has been the hottest contested pick in the first 8 picks, I would say. Then once you get to the next tier, which is probably the next 8 picks, where would you draft Michael Penix? That is my question to you. Michael Penix and Bo Nix, where would you take them? So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Glad to have you in here. Oh, yes. Well, it's been a lot of fun chatting with you guys, seeing you tonight. And so we'll be back with more, probably try and get in here tomorrow night, if not the following night. And we'll show you where we're at in the first annual Birdhouse Dynasty Bestball Draft. Oh, I can't wait to see how this one finishes. We're going to be following along with this draft for probably at least the next week. So we'll keep you in tune with this one. Let me know your thoughts about how this draft has unfolded so far. Your bad picks, your good picks. What are you guys thinking out there? But that's all I've got for you tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to check out Choice Sports Cards, your number one choice for buying and selling sports cards. Kyle and the boys over there on Whatnot, working hard every night for you, giving you great values in sports cards. As for the Birdhouse, I just want to remind you, never stop working. Good night, folks.